You're training for this. How does a person adjust for a life in space?
Well, I don't think anything can truly prepare you for that moment when you actually get on board the space station. But the way that we do train for weightlessness is in the back of large aircraft, and we go on parabolic flights. And that gives you an experience of 20 seconds or so of real weightlessness. But it does take some time to adapt to the actual life on board the space station.
How much discipline does a person need?
You do need to be disciplined. There's certainly large elements of fatigue, both during the training, the 2.5 years of intensive training leading up to your mission, and life on board the station is very hard work. And then you also, after your working hours, you have lots of other responsibilities to take care of it as well. So you do have to be quite disciplined in your management of time.
What about the day-to-day? I mean, just tell us about that, what it's like, what you're eating, how much you're exercising. Are you locked away in a small room for days with people that you may not like, or the personal dynamics? I mean, give us a flavor of what you do every day.
Yeah, the station is actually surprisingly large. The internal volume is about the size of a 747, and there's only 6 people on board, so it is actually quite a lot of room to move around. You can actually spend large parts of the day just working by yourself in a laboratory. Clearly, the main emphasis is to conduct the scientific research on board the space station, but the crew do get together at meal times. That sort of social integration is very important, not just for psychological well-being, but also to discuss the day's events. So the crew will eat together at lunch times and then in the evenings, and they'll do about 2 hours of exercise each every day.
What about the psychological preparation?
Well, we do lots of things to train us for that. I mean, the European Space Agency run a fantastic week-long course where you actually go and live in a cave with 5 other international astronauts. You do real scientific research, you do real exploration of unexplored elements of the cave, and that gives us a great introduction to some of the psychological problems you might come across during your stay on board the space station.
And what are they?
Well, the fact that you need to know yourself very well. You need to know how you deal with stress, how you deal with pressure, and also how other people deal with it and how you can cope in difficult circumstances. Sometimes you need to be a good leader. Sometimes you need to be a good follower. You need to make difficult decisions sometimes. So we're put into all of these different predicaments so that we can understand how we work and how others work, and make sure that when we come together as a crew on board the station, we maximize our efficiency.
And Major, I'm just wondering, just from a personal point of view, as are millions around the world, when we look at the International Space Station and astronauts going up there, and we wonder, what is it like? I mean, how does an experience like that change a person from what you know?
Yes, I think it can have a huge impact on individuals, and certainly the reading about the Apollo missions, when you start to venture outside of low Earth orbit and you really get to look back at the planet as a whole, then you get that extra feeling of isolation, and that changes your perspective. Most of the people I've spoken to have come back from a space mission say the most beautiful thing is to look at the Earth and you realize you see an Earth without borders, and it really gives you a different perspective on some of the challenges that we face here back on Earth. When you get to leave the planet and look back, it gives you a new perspective on how we can go about resolving those.